What is up, my Pika crew? This is the ThePikaWu, and welcome to another black and white Wi-Fi battle. This one's going to be against a guy called DBZ Marogino. He does have a YouTube account, so feel free to check him out after the match. A link will be in the description below. Now, onto the team preview. He has a lot of dangerous threats on his team. He namely has 3 dangerous Pokemon. The first one's going to be the Galvantula because it outspeeds my entire team, and it can hurt my team really hard with the Bug Buzz and Thunder combination. His other 2 Pokemon that are very threatening are his Amoonguss and Slowking because they pair well with each other as a very good defensive core, and they both have the Regenerator ability, meaning that when they switch out, they recover a lot of health. So those 2 Pokemon are going to be really hard to take down, and they actually wall my entire team, so that's not good at all. Now on my side, the only Pokemon that can actually break through the Amoonguss and Slowking combination is going to be my Choice Specs Manectric, and that's because I carry both the Thunderbolt, which is super effective against the Slowking, and the Overheat, which is super effective against the Amoonguss. Now, because that's my only Pokemon that can break through his defensive walls, I have to go to alternative by playing more of a defensive game by setting up as many entry hazards as possible and then chipping away at my opponent's health with the entry hazards and then trying to spin block with my Spiritomb. So not only is my Manectric important, but my Spiritomb is also going to be very important. So guys, I hope you guys enjoy the battle because it was a lot of fun, and yeah, enjoy. So I'm going to lead off with a Choice Specs Manectric because I can hit his team very hard with a Thunderbolt, and if the matchup's unfavorable, I can go for the Volt Switch since he doesn't have any ground type Pokemon. Now he's going to lead off with the Crustle, and they usually just set up entry hazards, so my plan here is just to Volt Switch out and then take him out second turn with another Pokemon. So Volt Switch to 60%, and I'm going to bring in my Hitmonchan to try to take him out with a Drain Punch. Actually anticipating him just to set up Stealth Rocks first turn, but he ends up going for the Stone Edge. It does end up missing, but I don't think it would have done too much damage against my Hitmonchan because I am max HP and I do resist the hit. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for the Drain Punch just to finish off the Crustle as he brings in the Amoonguss to take the hit, and it takes it very nicely because he does resist it and he's most likely physically defensive, so I do waste my Fighting Gem there. Now, I don't want to take a Spore with my Hitmonchan because I want it to be awake to spin away the entry hazards later on. So that's why I bring in my Miltank to take the Spore, because I have the Sap Sipper ability, meaning if he does go for the Spore, it will not only fail, but it will give me an attack boost. He does end up predicting my Miltank switch in by going for the Sludge Bomb. It does a decent amount of damage, and he does get the poison, meaning I do have to either go for the Heal Bell later on in the match, or I will lose around 12% every turn due to the poison. So I do set up my entry hazards, my Stealth Rocks there, as he brings in the Crustle, and they are there to stay because I do have a spin blocker in the shape of my Spiritomb, and he doesn't have a Foresight spinner because he has a Cryogonal as his rapid spinner. So that's really nice. Now he does set up his Stealth Rocks of his own. That's fine as I bring in my Quillfish. I know I scare him out with a water type move, so instead of going for the obvious waterfall, I'm just going to set up a layer of spikes. So right now I have 1 layer of spikes and my Stealth Rocks up. And like I said in the team preview, I need these entry hazards up as quickly as possible because he has a lot of defensive Pokemon, and chipping away at their health is really important. So now I'm going to bring in my Spiritomb here. And the reason why I bring it in instead of the Miltank is because 1, I resist the Sludge Bomb with the Spiritomb, and 2, he might predict my Miltank switch in because I did it the previous time, as he actually brings in his Crustle again. And seeing that he doesn't have an item, he most likely carries the Custap Berry, meaning if he is at a low amount of health, he is going to be able to set up a final layer of entry hazards before getting taken down. So instead of taking him down with the Spiritomb, I do decide to bring in my Hitmonchan, predicting his Custap Berry, and I can just go for the Rapid Spin after he sets up his spikes, meaning that his Crustle not only dies, but I permanently get rid of all of his entry hazards, and that's going to give me an advantage throughout the whole match. Now that his Crustle has died, he is going to bring in the Slowking, and because I carry Drain Punch and Ice Punch as my only 2 attacking moves, he's going to wall my set completely. So I'm actually going to bring in my Miltank here to take the predicted Scald or Psyshock, and then I'm just going to go ahead and instead of going for the Milk Drink and stalling, I'm just going to go for the Body Slam just to deal some damage against his Slowking before he takes me out with the Scald. I really didn't need Miltank in the long run, so I decided to fodder him off, and I decided I didn't really want to stall and just spam Milk Drink. So that now that my Miltank is gone, I am going to bring in my Manectric because I can scare him out with a Choice Specs Volt Switch, and he's actually going to bring in his Cryogonal on the switch, and that's fine. It should be dealing a lot of damage, plus I get the switch initiative, so I can bring in a counter to his Cryogonal, and that means his Cryogonal is going to be weakened, and because he's at a weakened amount of point, I know that he probably won't be able to Rapid Spin in the future. So I do bring in my Moltres because I can scare him out with a fire type move and set up a substitute. This is a substitute Whirlwind set, and this is a really nice set when it is paired up with a lot of entry hazards because I can just Whirlwind and set up substitutes against a lot of his Pokemon and just continuously shuffle around his team and chip away at his team's health with the entry hazard. So he's going to bring in the Slowking, that's fine. It's going to break my substitute with the Scald, but I can go for the Whirlwind. Hopefully I bring the Cryogonal right back in because then I can scare him out and go for the substitute and that same tactic again. But instead I do bring in the Galvantula, and Galvantula threatens me out because it can outspeed me and go for the Thunder, and I really have nothing to take a Thunder. I do have a Manectric with the Lightning Rod ability, but bringing it in now is way too risky, and if he does indeed go for the Bug Buzz predicting my Manectric, it can 1-hit KO me, and Manectric is too important to risk, so that's why I brought in my Hitmonchan predicting the Bug Buzz, and he actually just goes for 2 Thunders and takes down my Hitmonchan. But I really don't need it anymore because his Slowking walls my Hitmonchan completely, and I already Rapid Spin, so that's not too big of a deal. Now I don't have anything to take a Thunder too well, since it is a Life Orb Galvantula, but the best thing to take it is my specially defensive Spiritomb. So I know after the Life Orb recoil, I should be able to take him down with the Dark Pulse. And now that his Galvantula is down, that's one massive threat out of the way because that was one Pokemon that could just wreck my team. So now another threat comes in. This is a Crawdon. It's most likely going to be a sub Dragon Dance set, so I know it's most likely going to either Dragon Dance predicting my switch or Substitute predicting my switch. And because I'm still at a green amount of health, I can go for the Curse and still be able to live with 6 HP. So now that I have a Curse activated, meaning every turn he's going to lose a lot of health, and I don't know if he wants to switch out now or if he wants to save his Substitute, but I know a Pokemon that can deal with his Crawdon is going to be my Quillfish because I am physically defensive and I resist his Waterfall. So he does indeed go for the Waterfall. It shouldn't be doing too much damage. He does get a critical hit, which ends up meaning that the Waterfall does around half, but looking at the Waterfall crit damage, I know I should be able to live a Crunch, and I should be able to set up another layer of spikes, and after 2 more turns, this Quillfish is going to die due to the Curse that I activated on him. So he does indeed go for the Crunch. I do live with red health, and I am able to set up my final layer of spikes, so this is absolutely amazing. So now his Hydro, his Crawdon is going to die next turn due to the Curse, and that's basically 2 of his main sweepers are gone, and now the only thing I really have to worry about on his team is his defensive core, the Slowking, and the Amoonguss combination. So now he's going to bring in that Cryogonal. I don't want to risk the fact that he might go for the Rapid Spin, so I have to bring in my Spiritomb. Even if he goes for the Ice Beam to take me out, I just have to prevent him from getting rid of my entry hazard. So that's why I bring it in. Luckily for me, he actually does go for the Rapid Spin, and he can just go for the Ice Beam and take me out here, but he just decides to go for the Recover just to heal up, to be at a sustainable amount of health to try to Rapid Spin in the future. But unfortunately for him, I have the rest, so because he goes for the Recover, that gives me a free turn to recover all my health back as well. So this Spiritomb is going to be in the match a lot longer than my opponent definitely expected. So here's the stally part of the match, because he really can't kill my Spiritomb with the Slowking, since his Spiritomb is an absolute monster, it just doesn't die. And I know that although Slowking is going to be very hard to take down, I should be able to have the advantage in this matchup, although it's very stally. And that's mainly because I have a super effective move, which is Dark Pulse. I do have Will-O-Wisp, which is going to chip away at his health. And I do have Curse, meaning worst case scenario, I can just activate the Curse and force a switch out. So my current strategy is just to go for the Dark Pulse, and then eventually he will want to switch out knowing that it's going to be a failed matchup for him. And then I can Will-O-Wisp on the switch to try to burn something. But he just keeps on staying in. So I'm going to actually change up my strategy later on after I fail with my current strategy twice because I go for the Will-O-Wisp as he goes for the Slack Off, actually anticipating him to switch out. So my new plan is just to go for the Curse since I'm at a healthy amount of HP. I can afford losing half of my health, and then I can activate the Curse, meaning that it's going to force him to switch out. So this is really nice because I do live his Scald even though he does get the burn, and I can outspeed and get all my HP back with the rest. Now I'm finally sick of this matchup, so I'm actually going to bring in my Quillfish here as he's going to switch out as well, and he's going to bring in his Cryogonal, and I can go right back into my Spiritomb, anticipating him to want to go for the Rapid Spin, but I'm thinking he's just going to go for the Ice Beam here, knowing that I'm probably going to bring in my Spiritomb again to try to prevent him from rapid spinning. So instead, I just leave my Quillfish here to die. Hopefully, I can live an Ice Beam and set up my final layer of entry hazards if I haven't already set up my third layer. Now I'm going to bring in my Spiritomb here because I know I can live a couple of Ice Beams and I can stall a little bit with my Spiritomb again, because I know he's probably not invested in special attack, he's probably invested in HP and special defense. So I know eventually I can just wake up and just continuously go for the rest and put pressure on his team, because I know with my pressure ability he's going to lose 2 PP every time he goes for a move. So this Spiritomb is going to be a little obnoxious. He's going to go for the Ice Beam again, and I am going to live, and I'm just going to go for the Will-O-Wisp to go for the burn, and I know after my leftovers recovery I can survive one more Ice Beam and I can go for the rest finally, and yeah, so I can recover all the way back to full again and just continue with this process. So he's going to go for the Ice Beam, and I'm going to live with red health again. This Spiritomb is just not going to die, and it's an absolute monster. I love this set. It carries Dark Pulse, Will-O-Wisp, Rest, and Curse, and it's probably one of my favorite special defensive walls. So I am going to recover back to full, and finally I don't want to stall for too much since I already stalled previously, so I bring in my Moltres, and I'm just going to go on the offensive because I do have that super effective fire type move, the Flamethrower. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. I'm pretty sure it's not going to take him out in one hit because I am invested in speed, HP, and in the defenses. I don't really have that much investment in special attack. So Flamethrower should be a 2-hit KO, and yeah, he is going to take it, and he's just going to go for another Ice Beam. Luckily for me, he doesn't go for the Rapid Spin, and I can outspeed next turn and just take him out. So yeah, this Cryogonal is finally going to die, and he really doesn't have anything on his team left to handle my Moltres because his Slowking is at a low point amount of health, and his Amoonguss is weak to the fire type move. So here, finally his Cryogonal is going to die, and he's going to bring in the Amoonguss. What he should have done was actually bring in his Slowking because I'm not invested in special attack, so he might be able to live the Flamethrower. So he's actually just going to lose his Amoonguss here. And yeah, Amoonguss is going to get taken down in one hit. And his last Pokemon is going to be the Slowking. And Slowking can live the Flamethrower, but yeah, that's mostly due to the fact that he's specially defensive. So I go for the Flamethrower here, and he is going to live with a low amount of health, and he's going to finish me off with a Scald. But I can bring in basically any other Pokemon. I do decide to bring in my Manectric, and I'm going to take him down with a Thunderbolt. So that is going to be the match. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle. Really quick. Well, it wasn't quick actually. It was 46 turns. It was kind of long. Really long battle. Kind of stally with Spiritomb, but it just shows you how much of a beast Spiritomb is. So hope you guys enjoy this battle, and yeah, stay tuned for the comment question of the day. If you guys haven't subscribed already, feel free to subscribe and join the Pika crew. So thank you for watching my battle, and peace out, guys.